Hello, everyone, and welcome to TFC Open Mic, Season 2, Episode 29, Talk BP with our mod scientist, that's me, and Lovable Rue, that is not me. Thank you very much, Rue, for doing all the technical stuff tonight as well. Just get that out of the way. From left to right, other than Rue, we have Rumrunner.
Hello, guys.
We have Peter, aka Professor Yana.
Hello, hello.
We have Jeff, the greenest of Iron Men.
Yo.
We have Hefe of Cat Lasers.
Howdy.
And we have George of hopefully this show goes under 2 hours.
What's up, everybody?
All right, so it's actually a pretty relaxing week in Battle Pirates. There's not a whole lot new. Well, there's only one thing new, really. The VXP Weekend is happening, although the targets, the 100 targets, which are the main source of VXP, instead of being for the first 36 hours like normal, they were only shortened to 24 hours. They are already gone. They left at 9 a.m. this morning. So I'm going to call it VXP Day because 24 hours is not really a weekend, and if you're hitting those other targets, well, it's just not the same. You're really going to have to work hard to get your ships to a decent rank on those targets. So, how was everyone's VXP day?
Not too bad.
Mine was pretty good.
Not amused with the shortened time.
You know, any reason why they did that? Does anybody know?
I don't think
have
anybody
no idea.
I've heard nothing.
I mean, you could hazard a guess that it's putting more time pressure on the players. It's only 24 hours, so you've got to get your ships done now, or the good targets are all gone. And so you might coin a repair that you might not otherwise coin, or coin to get a fleet out or build out a little bit quicker to get it in the water and start ranking it up.
Yeah, or build the boat. I fell victim to that.
Yeah, but we're talking 12 hours. You know, it's not like we used to have 4 days and they shortened it down to 1 day. It was 9 a.m. Friday Pacific time to 9 p.m. Saturday, and they finished it first thing this morning, which is, you know, kind of frustrating for folks that are in the States who work all day Fridays, may not get time Friday night, and then have to get up really early to go ahead and finish that on Saturday morning. So I'm not sure what the logic was behind changing that, and I sincerely hope that they rethink that option and they bring it back to the Saturday night, which is what we've kind of all been used to.
Well, I would hope, because even at 24 hours, I mean, you got to sleep, right?
Yep.
I mean, it isn't really 24 hours when you do it that. I don't know.
And what is the repair time on 5 Skyfires?
On
With
4,
armor
it's
on?
just on 4 of them with no armor. It's 10 hours because I have 4 of them built, and they were blank, and it was 10 hours of damage, and I was not happy.
Ouch.
I was ranking 2 Phoenixes, and the damage was, if they weren't completely dead, but it was like almost 4 hours. Luckily, I had some 5-hour repair tokens from courtesy of Kixeye, so that helped.
And I think that's an important point was brought up about the Skyfires, because that hull is meant to take damage. That's kind of its thing. It's not going to do perfect runs. Like, I put an engine on my Phoenix, my gut spill, and a 98 range increaser, and a couple of Talons. And yeah, I could run in, move around, and run out, and do just fine, but Skyfires can't. They're going to take damage from drones or the Alices if they get close enough, and I don't even think they'd be able to outrun the Hulk when it's sped up, although I'm not sure on that. So you have to go back and repair that, and that's certainly not cheap. That's going to waste some of your precious time.
Yeah, a tip for doing that, if you are, and Nobby just mentioned this in chat, and I found this the same way in the beginning as well, if you're ranking just the Phoenix flag, you get decimated by the drones, and you get decimated quickly if you've just got like one weapon on it. One thing that you can do is go in and kill the drones off with something else, like your regular Phoenixes, and leave that first Hulk, and then go in there and take the Hulk out, which gives you a little bit more damage as opposed to just getting the damage for dying.
Yeah, or the model gluts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way, if you're using Muddle Gluts, don't do what I did. Respect the thermal. I think on the Hulk it's over 100 because I was getting seen and I'd killed off, like the drones were dead. That part was fine. And I'd get just on the edge of the mouses and they would start moving. And they have a weapon that deals submerged damage. So that was kind of dumb.
I built the Gut Spill Skyfire, and that is one powerful boat. I had one drone on there, not drone, excuse me, one UAV, and it could wind up taking out the entire drone fleet by itself and only taking like a quarter damage, and that's with no armor or anything on it other than the one UAV.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't wait to see what it does with the other 4 that are fully ranked now.
Actually, how was ranking that? Because it's got 140,000 base armor.
You know what? It actually went a heck of a lot quicker than what I thought. I went in and hit maybe 3 of the fleets off of the 100 and came out with an incredible amount of rank. And, from there, obviously each level takes a little bit more, but it went pretty quick. I did it within, I'd say, 10 minutes of them dying at 11 o'clock because I started at 10:47. And they were supposed to despawn at 11 o'clock my time. And I started.
That's crazy.
Hey, Mike. Thanks on getting to your YouTube because I was hearing feedback. But welcome. Anybody else?
Mike, thanks.
Nice,
I
George.
All right. I hit the wrong mute button, but all right.
That was lovely.
I'm trying to eat dinner and do this, damn it. I apologize.
How are you eating dinner with like a big shovel?
See what happens when you host, Brian?
I know.
Yeah,
I mean, damn.
we're at 8 minutes already. Oh man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be like a crib show. Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Wait, I need
The one
beer.
thing
I need
that,
more beer then. Hold on.
Yeah.
All my beer? Is that what you just said?
I said I need more beer if it's going to be a crib show.
He does need you to hold his beer so we can go get another one and drink 2 at once.
There we go.
Yes,
We're
double
missing the
fisted.
photos. We're missing
And
the photos from.
Wait. He also needs a beer hat.
Well, he already has one because America. So he learned because a good part of Battle Pirates is efficiency, and he's just trying to be the most efficient in everything that he does. So,
Yeah, the one thing that else that popped up with the targets was that new wall that they've put in there.
yeah, it was huge.
So that wall's never had an effect.
Well, it's not. I mean, not for what we were using it for in terms of VXP, but for those who don't know, if you imagine it as kind of a square missing the top and then there's a little center, from about the center to the right side, best approximation, there's a wall there. And what a lot of people would do with those targets in the raid that did not have that wall was you clean up the top 2 sets of drones and the Hulks, and you take out the turrets on the top side, and you might even take out the turrets on the kind of right corner at about 4 or 5 o'clock, and then you'd go into the center, run them kind of in and around the middle, and you would target the thrower turret that was on the far wall from you, and you could kill that in 2 passes, and then you'd take out the missile turrets, and you would attack the drones and malices and kind of trigger them to come towards you, and they'd come straight towards you, but there's a wall in the way, so they would run into the wall and you'd kind of sit there and pick them off bit by bit, and you'd be out of the range of the drones, you'd be out of the range of the malices, unless the malices decided to wind around and come in, but you could take those out pretty easily. And you'd take a lot less damage from about 40% of the target than you would otherwise. And I think that wall is meant to dissuade you from doing that, although there are other options. Some people have mentioned you pinch the thrower turret. Maybe you could come in from the left side and go in and take out the thrower turret there, because you're going to have more firepower than you did in the first raid, hopefully. So it requires a change of strategy.
I also noticed that when you're down in that inside there, that that wall being there kind of funnels the malices into you. They used to drive around and kind of get stuck on the top of the center island and putz around, but now they get funneled right in.
Yeah, Brian, is it true, the rumors that the Reavers paid for that wall?
Actually, they made the Drax pay for it.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering how that worked out.
A surprising twist. Actually, it was partially paid for by the proceeds of the BP Gut Spill calendar model.
There you go.
12 different poses, $19.99. People apparently bought that.
Yeah, okay. Very good.
I haven't seen that in my daily deals yet, so we'll see.
You don't want to
I
see
don't
that in
wanna
your
see
daily
it.
deals.
Yeah, my ears perked up on centerfold, and then you said ships, and I was like, damn.
Oh. Good old copyright neutral Roadhog. Other than that, there's Call to Arms, Monolith. I think this is the third time we've run it through for Monolith tokens in particular. Monolith ships and such. And any thoughts on that? I know a lot of us have done these repeatedly, like a lot.
Man.
Meh.
Well, again, there are still lower levels that are still working towards getting their FM fleets. If they weren't able to do it for the raid, there were a couple of videos that were posted today. Andrew did one with some Punishers, and there was another gentleman that popped one on there with a Nova tank, I think it was, and DNXs. If you can't get through the prize pack to get the ships, take a look at some of those videos that were posted for the FM targets and see if there's any hints that will help you get through Call to Arms, because the Mono is definitely what you're looking for to get with the FM if you don't have Imperial. So, again, yeah, it's repeatable. You can get tokens if you've already got them and you can use them, but if you don't have the Mono, you should be working towards getting it.
Yeah, and just to comment, I'm actually literally right now editing a video for a 2-ship fleet from Researchable and Tier 1 and Tier 2 tech that does the 88. So hopefully that'll be out for people that are just starting, just coming back, or whatever.
Nice.
And with the change in the FM, I haven't looked at all the targets since they swapped them over, but it's entirely possible, and I think the 88 is the 85 from the last raid cycle. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it's dumbed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they did reduce the damage in that as well.
It's dumbed down a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun.
So icebreakers might do well on it. That's good, because the some of the targets in the Call to Arms itself, even the earlier prize packs, the one that Kixeye is focused on players getting number 1, number 2, those might be some of the new FM targets. I probably should have done prize pack 1 for research's sake, but VXP day.
Yep.
All right, and that's our show. 15-minute short show. Good job.
You didn't get to math yet.
Yeah, I did. Well, there's not much math to do. Oh, actually, no, I did want to make a PSA about the Gut Spills Phoenix and possibly the Heavy Lance Missile, because I noticed while I was ranking my Gut Spills Phoenix it has that random launch override. You see at the bottom, it's missile, range 76, accuracy of 100, and a splash of 25. So it has an accuracy stat, and it has a splash stat. And a lot of people are still confused about whether or not weapons with an accuracy stat and a splash stat will follow the ships and are not dumbfire, that is to say, or they are dumbfire, which means they target a point and they go towards that point. And that's important because if they target a point and the ship moves out of the way, it's going to miss. It's basically like a mortar, except you usually don't expect missiles to behave like mortars, but this one does. The gut spill's random launch override will not follow a ship. It'll just target a point. And that's important because a lot of the drones and the malices, a lot of times they'll be able to move out of the way. Even with a splash of 25, they're just so fast that they'll move. Sometimes they move into it, probably, and that's nice, but you're not going to get the super awesome results you might be expecting with that because they do not track the ships. And the heavy lance missile, even though you can't win it until next week, has that same combination of stats. It has an accuracy stat and a splash stat. So I would assume that that works the same way, although really we won't know until we put it on. But I think it's very likely that that heavy missile itself is going to miss a lot of things. And that's unfortunate because that's a very big chunk of that ship's damage unless you're George and use Chaos Morts.
Is there any player-owned ship-based splash weapons that aren't dumbfire?
I can't think of one.
I don't think so. I think the only caveat is missiles on a proto-nem.
Okay.
So basically, with the the heavy lance and the gut spill override, we're looking at Scythe Heavy Missile Mark II.
Well, other than the benefits you get from the Lance missile, I mean, 300% damage bonus on pin is nice, and that applies to the regular missiles, not just the Lance.
That applies to everything.
Yes.
That was the comment about the Chaos Mortar because there is a little play build of the Imperial that I was playing with. I don't know that anyone wants to try to build it to use it, but it's interesting looking.
It depends how if they give me 40 Imperial tokens in the next raid and
Yeah,
I'm actually done in 50 million, then I might try it.
Yeah,
Or
But-
if you
get tokens.
Dampener.
About how good it needs to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some Imperial tokens left over, and I've got two full Imperials that were done in preparation for that raid cycle, and then of course I switched to the monos, and so I may just make some changes to that one. And then I've got a bunch of Zealous tokens left over, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing that new missile.
So Robin's going to be my guinea pig.
Is there a thing as a guinea kangaroo? I don't think so.
Guinea Roo?
We can make it up.
Well, we just did. Hey,
Wow.
Daddy.
We can build it. We have the technology.
That way, if the game gets broken from this build, I can totally blame Rue instead of me. Awesome.
Hey Brian, hey guys and girls. I'm just going to have me takeout's just arrived, so I'm going to have to mute until I've finished eating. But sorry about that. I'll be back in a bit.
Hey, G Danny. Hey, Toxic.
Toxic. Eventually.
Morning, everyone. How are we going?
Yeah, we're going.
How'd the ranking go, Toxic?
It wasn't too bad, actually, to tell you the truth. It wasn't too bad. I only had a couple to rank. I don't have the any of the gut spills, so I only had a couple of Phoenixes and 3 Skyfires to rank. And it wasn't too bad. I went in and out and in and out. And I got it all done before the day was up, which was pretty sad. I thought that everyone complaining that there wasn't enough time spent on or for ranking, and then they cut it down from 36 to 24 hours. But you know, that's life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be worse.
I'm still, the whole mechanism still bothers me personally. I mean, you know, something that misses that day. I mean, there's really no good way to compensate for missing that 24 hours due to real life circumstances, and you know, you're way underpowered, and you're, you know, there's something broken with the mechanism for getting VXP, if it should even exist at all. Just to give it 1 day out of 30 in order to even semi-efficiently rank your ships. And the fact that the, you know, a partially ranked ships of different ranks don't work well together, especially with this raid cycle, because everything needs to be basically be able to move in unison. It just, you know, as opposed to going out and hitting 7,000 salvages over the month, it seems like there needs to be something else going on besides buying the tokens that they're going to sell you in a special offer. It seems like something else needs to be going on, or have the whole thing eliminated.
Yeah, you know, Red made a really good point. You know, if they're going to shorten it to 24 hours, then start it Saturday morning and run it till Sunday morning, as opposed to Friday to Saturday. Because if they at least start that window over the weekend and on a Saturday morning, that allows just about everybody in the world at least a short window, but at least something that's over the weekend, as opposed to during a workday.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for anyone else, but when it actually started at 9 a.m., I was at work. I had just started. And by the time I got home, it was about 4 o'clock. And I had plans to go out with friends that night, potentially. So I'd have had like an hour, if that, at that point. And then maybe an hour between the time that I would get back and would actually have to go to sleep, because I'm a human being and need sleep. All those myths about me being a robot busted. So you have what? Really only 2 hours. And that's really not enough, especially if you were ranking, again, like Skyfires that take damage and that need repair. And yeah, you could coin it, but I would hope that wouldn't be necessary. And or maybe if they ran it twice a month, 24 hours, like now and 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
That would be nice, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, I could see that being nice, but then I could also see that where, you know, Kix relies on people coining ships to finish them, or finishing up the back end of ships in order to get them out in time for VXP. And if they run a second one during the middle of the month, then I'm sure there would be a downturn in revenue with respects to that. I'd love to see it happen, but
no, there'd be a shift in revenue.
Yeah.
The time that you would spend to finish your fleets up now, you'd spend to coin it closer to the raid.
Yeah, or
ideally it would be the same amount, because addition is commutative.
Yeah, or just get rid of that turn speed. Just drop the turn speed from it. Keep the reload, but drop the turn speed. And that way you can still drive all your ships in unison, even though might only be at 25% of the firepower. You're still, you know, not leaving one ship just way out in left field, and make it so it could be used with the rest of the fleet.
Yeah.
oh, that's an interesting point.
Also, if you think about it too, the 24 hours actually gives people like in the UK and stuff an advantage, because, you know, if it comes out on Friday morning, the people in the US are at work, and then they have a few hours maybe in the evening to do it, and then they're in bed. But when they're in bed, the people in the UK, it's Saturday,
and they're just getting home from the bar Saturday mornings. So.
Well, but even, you know, like midnight here is 6 a.m. in the UK. So while we're all in bed here in the States, then the people in the UK are up during the day on Saturday doing their ranking.
Yeah, well, you know, as much as I like the fact that that the UK actually has an advantage for a change, because normally they get the short end of the stick. It is such an important thing that I think they definitely need to rethink when they're doing it so that they can maximize revenue even from everybody. And I think the solution to that is, if they're going to drop it, then push it over the weekend.
Right.
Well, look at us poor Aussies. We're in a land down under, so it's hard enough for me to play this game standing on my head so I could see it the right way around. Now, if it's
Oh, wait. And your ships turn counterclockwise, right?
yeah,
I
if
want to know
turn-
what he's drinking.
So hard.
Yeah.
I really want to know what he's drinking, and send me some over, man.
it's called
You know,
Thunderbird.
when I went back home, I didn't realize it, but boy, yeah, it was such a huge change for me when I had to switch over to Aussie time to do stuff, and I was like, oh man, this is horrible. But yeah, you're right, Toxic. Not just you guys, but the Kiwis as well, and everything else. And it's kind of hard to find that zone for everybody. But I think the weekend is probably the best way to do it.
Are
Yeah.
Reaver drop bears worse than normal drop bears?
Absolutely.
Good.
And the whole toilets flushing backwards thing still has me messed up.
Yeah, it's like the ships.
Yeah, here's a thought. Instead of making it, say, 24 hours or 36 hours, make it 48 hours, start at Saturday 9 a.m., have it run through till Monday.
You mean like a weekend?
Like a full weekend. Not, 24
Oh.
hours on one week, on the weekend.
And has anybody tried the 55s? How much lower is the efficiency damage to VXP? I tried to get it all done on the on the 100s, but how much lower is the efficiency? Is it just more time intensive as far as
No.
actual in there, or
I
is
think
it
I got-
damaged?
It's death.
Yeah, when I sent in that Citadel that I built, it was only what I get 1,500 or 1,600, I think, with a triple salty. So it was like 500 and something, like 550 VXP for dying in it.
That's a bit less than half of what I remember the hundreds giving.
Yeah.
Well, I hit a URF with my Skyfires, yeah. And I had no rank, I had no crew on it. It was just a plain hit, and I got a whopping 87 VXP. I think I got out of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And out of a 71, you get 21 VXP. So, what do? It's a lot quicker to do a 71. If you need to rank now, I don't know if the Earths pay out differently, but the one I hit was the one with the SS and the I don't know what else was in there now. It was the one with the missiles. Yeah,
Yeah,
the one with the
Scorpions and
missiles.
Mercuries.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I got 87 VXP for that.
That's weird.
I think that another way they could solve this is, if they want to keep it a shorter time, they could make the multipliers on some of these things a little higher. Maybe not necessarily the hundreds, because I'm sure that's where they would make the bulk of their money from VXP, because a lot of players have learned by this point about how inefficient the other targets are, and if they haven't, we've just taught them. Maybe instead of 550 for the next lowest down, make it 750, and instead of 87 VXP for an Earth, make that a few hundred.
Well, it's weird, but I seem to remember some of the URFs giving like 300, 400 VXP last time I was hitting them. I was without a crew.
Yeah, because some of them I thought weren't that bad. I don't know if they vary, but I remember when I was ranking up I think I was using it for my Hell race at one point, and doing quite well. And also I was doing my Alpha Behemoth and launching into everything except for the land-based one, and the deflection on it just ate everything up, and so I could just auto into them. So,
Well, they used to pay out really well when they first come out.
okay.
Yeah, no,
like
dude.
they were in the thousands then, I think. It was 1,500 or
back when
something.
back when they were robots raiders. I think that was.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
don't do what I do and load up with countermeasures and then try and rank one of your ships. That was an exercise in futility. But, Nobby just brought up a good point in chat too, that with respects to the Conquerors and the Defenders, it is extremely hard to rank those at any time other than the VXP weekend. If you've got a ship that's short 3K in VXP, you can spend a couple hours watching a movie and go hit cargoes, but you cannot with the new tiered Conquerors and Defenders, and it is very hard for people to do that outside of the VXP weekend. And everybody's normal troll response is, "Oh, we'll go hit a base." Well, okay, yeah, and that gives you what, how many, and then how many thousands do you have to do? And so maybe a separate or an additional Conqueror one, or a way that they can do that.
Yeah.
Like a constant, because there's the one URF that's the base, and one of the problems inherent is that you do not gain EXP from damaging buildings, only ships. Maybe if they were to give the ships in that more health and lower their damage, probably not if we're talking about the new Conquerors, because you've got insane health and deflections, but just more health so that you take a somewhat kitted out Conqueror, run it in, kill some ships, make it play like a base encounter, and have that be really high. If you want, I guess you could have that only available to Conquerors and Defenders, but that should always be on the map.
I think the Earth should always be on the map. Or is there a real advantage to the player besides getting VXP? Why can't we take tier 6 Conquerors and Defenders into cargoes? I mean, if you have these ships, you should have no challenge in actually hitting one of those. And it baffled me. And when I kept on hearing the limitations, I always assumed that they were going to eliminate the cargoes from that. But I was wrong on that.
Well, think too, your base armor on those things is what, 150,000? I mean, you're going to be like negative VXP hitting a cargo.
Well, if you hit with one ship, at least you're going to get. I mean, I just can't believe maybe they did that so people wouldn't complain.
I don't know, but if you need 100,000 VXP on a ship that's got 150,000 armor points, and you get 0.2 of a VXP for killing a cargo, we could be here till next year trying to get something done. So maybe a separate, like you said, take the URFs and change those, make those a special Defender Conqueror cargo that only those ships can hit, and then apply VXP for hitting buildings. I mean, that's what those ships are built for.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Make like an elite 150 or whatever, or an elite 99 for Defenders, and there you go. And you can just rank them. Because even though you don't really have to have Conqueror things necessarily, you need to have Defender things to defend your base, turns out. So that's still important. And even then, Conquerors are necessary for some of the TLC bits and this and that. So we need a way to rank those. And the 10 VXP at a time, or the 1 day a month where you just run your ship in and have it die off, well, that's not really good either.
Well, I mean, when they have VXP Weekend, the disparity between the hulls having, like the Conquerors, having so much health, and then on top of it having so much need for VXP to rank up, and then the PvE stuff. I mean, I think we talked about it a little last night, but I wouldn't mind seeing separate targets on VXP Weekend. If you're gonna have the amount of armor that's been being added to our PvE stuff is making it ever more expensive to just rank, just so we could play the game. All we want to do is play the game, but you need the rank to play. And what is it? 10 hours for 4 Skyfires, okay? Not even the best hull, the second best hull. 10 hours, 4 ships. Dude, I need more VXP in a hit. If I'm gonna coin 20 coin, I better be getting a lot of damn VXP. So either up the VXP since you're, increasing the repair costs on these, or split it. Because, I mean, I understand you don't want to give so much VXP when a Conqueror is, what, a coin to repair? 5 of them's 5 coin to repair. So, yeah, you wouldn't... It's not balanced there. And they either got to come up with something balanced, either make the VXP double on PvE stuff or half on Conqueror, or split targets, man. Come up with a separate target for the Conqueror stuff and the Defender stuff. I mean, but something's got to be done because it's way too ridiculously expensive to rank. And if you can't let your players rank the stuff that they need to play the game, they're not going to play the game. I mean, it's a really simple concept.
Well, it also goes back.
If I might interject for a moment. Back during the last Reaver arc, the Reaver skirmish arc, if I remember correctly, they had a special 99 VXP target during the VXP weekends that was geared specifically for ranking things like the Valiant and the Vanquisher, because all of the Reaver ships would charge your position.
Yeah, but I don't know that they changed the way that the VXP actually worked in it for those, because you'd get the same VXP if you sent in, a gunboat or anything, like a fusion cruiser. I'm saying that because of the disparity in the repairs and the armor and stuff, they've got to. I mean, they're splitting everything else PvE and PvP for a reason, and this just follows.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bring that target back, or a target like it back, but lock it to specifically to Conqueror and Defender hulls.
Well, you got the URFs where you got to hit like a build base, or where you got to hit the subs. So why can't you do that with the cargoes or whatever? Just special one for certain things.
And they need to indicate what they are. I mean, how many times have you gone up to a tower and there's, in the old way, they used to be like 27 URFs, and you got to go poke at 6 of them to find the one that's not subs or find the one that's not a base. And so if they do bring the URFs on the map, I think they need to clearly indicate what type it is.
I think they did that. They used to have numbers, and then because people knew what they were, they wouldn't hit the certain number, and that's when the question mark got put on again, wasn't it? I remember something like that.
Yeah.
I thought they were always question marks.
No, they used to have a number on them.
I just did some quick math about ranking a Conqueror. It's 100,000 XP, and let's say you've got your Tripper Salty on, you get about 3,300 a hit. So it's going to take you about 30 hits to get your Conqueror from 0 to Scald. And I have a Repair Officer and an R&D 30, speeding up the last 5 minutes. It's about 20 minutes to repair. Time going out and coming back, not included. So 30 hits to repair, 30 hits to Scald at 20 minutes is 10 hours to repair, to Skull 1, not to mention all the Triple Salties you'd need, or $3, basically. You might need a second Triple Salty. I don't know how the time would work on running in and getting out. But that's just for one ship. I think they need to make more of the Conqueror VXP tokens available, not just in the faction-specific campaigns, but maybe in some of the other campaigns as well. Like, I don't know, Call to Arms for, Sloth and Pride and Liberator. Well, not Liberator has its own TLC with tokens in there, I guess, but those things for those tokens.
And they've also mentioned having additional things drop out of the 91s in the future. I'm not sure if that would be an option for them at all, but I think GDA mentioned at some point that they were going to have additional things besides titanium fall out of those targets, because we're putting a large investment in time in this assault schedule just to have ships left over to hit 91s. And if you're not into the megas, there's really no reason besides the actual raid itself to make an investment in those ships.
Well, don't forget the daily chest though.
Well,
Yeah, there is.
For Mega Mayhem, the Phoenixes for that.
I've hit that once personally.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is the Phoenixes work much better than the Apollos, and then there are also some targets out there in some of the campaigns that are Legion targets.
Yeah, but I mean those are built for Apollos, and this is a step above. I mean it's supposed to be better. Maybe not ironclad in dub level better, but we should be doing well in those. Yeah.
Personally, I would like to see the chests that they had for the Reaver relays come back. I think those were awesome. The quality of prizes they had on offer there for hitting those relays was really good.
Second that.
I mean, third that, but those were for people that had already coined their whole fleet or most of their fleet and were able to do those because those were offered a week or two after you could physically start building them.
My point is they could modify those and use those to also release VXP during different times.
Yeah, just give you some Conqueror tokens.
Well, that's what they did. They would give you, VXP tokens for a couple of different things or ship build tokens. It was always random, but it was nice to have that opportunity.
Yeah, they did the same thing with 112 research garrisons before and during the Cold War arc.
Right. They didn't have quite the prizes, but I guess the target wasn't as difficult.
Yeah, I'm thinking something more like that.
But they did have VXP tokens in them, which was nice.
Yes.
And build tokens, if I remember correctly.
Yes, they did.
Icebreakers.
No, for Justice in the Reavers, because that's how I got my Justice built.
I was talking about the 112s.
Right, but I was going back to talking about the Reaver relays.
Oh, right, gotcha.
I think they should. I think in all VXP weekends, days, whatever, going forward, I think everyone should have that 100 target that was the proposed S target for the garrison raids, but didn't end up being the S target because a lot of people are getting the hulls now to participate in the FM, whether they be, citadels or monoliths or icebreakers. If you get the Imperial from the FM, you're already doing well enough. And I guess somehow didn't pick up the Imperial, but ranking garrison fleets and your tank in the front line, that's going to pay dividends for you constantly. And I took Visago's Icebreaker into these hundreds. I mean, if you want to die, you will die fast. You'll die really fast, and you won't get off damage because either the things move too fast for the rockets and such to come out, or they have increased the resistances again because I didn't get full damage from dealing damage even though I fired off about 20 rockets at the Hulk before I died.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, how do people rank up the monos that they just got in the TFCs and whatnot, the mid-level players? And they just go out and hit cargo?
I've seen a lot on the map.
Oh, as far as they're trying to hit these targets? It just seems like hitting these targets would be... I would be very frustrated trying to hit these.
They do have VXP tokens in that TLC, but it's in Prize Pack 3, and those targets, the Prize Pack 3, the targets get quite a bit harder.
Yeah, if you just won monos and started building them, you're not gonna. You can't do 3. It's just too hard.
But the thing is, though, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you build your fleet for the FM or whether you build the fleet for the ride. If you haven't got the rank on them, it's unless you want to coin and coin and coin and coin, you cannot do it. I mean, I had 2 Phoenixes and I had my third one in the oven, and one had 71% and the others had 33 and 38 respectively once they come out, and it was between 6 and 8 coins 100, and it was just impossible to do. and then not having the armors and stuff like that is it's going to be a really expensive ride, and a lot of people just say, well, if I can't do it, you know, at a reasonable cost or time, then I'm just not going to bother.
That's a really good point, because I can't remember, it was on one of Hefe's hangouts. Somebody was, I think it was Raptor that was talking about it. We had the same number of ships and we're hitting the same targets, and he and whoever it was really struggling with trying to finish the targets, and the main difference between the two fleets was one was fully sculled and the other one wasn't. And it was amazing just how much difference there was between how quick the fleet died versus being able to get through and finish the targets. That's a really good point on the rank.
Yeah, because it does.
Well, you know, the faster you kill stuff, the faster you can kill stuff, the less damage you take.
Yeah. But it was a marked difference, though. It was, you know, like I think he was saying, I can't remember who it was, Hefe, but someone was saying they couldn't even kill one drone or something with the two ships that they were having. They were really struggling with trying to even kill it before the drone caught up with them and basically took them out.
Yeah, I don't think that was Raptor knowing the way he plays, but yeah. But the big point is the fact that between 0% ranked and 75%, it's potentially four times the damage depending on what else you have on the ship. If you don't have anything else that's a damage booster, because that's giving you 400% reload. Mm-hmm. So it's so drastic. It's so dramatic. Oh, it's Barian.
That's Barian. That's it. I apologize. My apologies to Raptor. I knew it was somebody.
It wasn't Raptor. Raptor's not running into that issue. I'm sorry.
That's especially true with these drones and stuff, because they not only do they have such super high evade, you got the Malices healing them all the time, and even with fully ranked,
DPS is key.
DPS, yeah, even with fully ranked though, if you got two Malices healing them, and they just don't die anytime soon.
Yeah, and it is a really weird mechanic that you start to see in VXP Weekend, as far as the high evade on the drones, and the Malices are providing the health to them. And so you're basically, the damage you're doing is to the drones, unless you can cut around the drones and take out the Malices, which really should be your, next time it comes around, should be the strategy as far as, maximizing your VXP relative to damage, because the amount of health, those drones don't have a lot of health. They're just getting it all from the Malices, but the evade's probably, what? Anybody want to take a guesstimate? 190 or, something crazy on them. And so you're firing so much at those drones, and you're not doing a lot of damage, as opposed to you're probably doing close to 10 times the damage, actual armor damage to the Malices relative to the drones.
Well, I think too that normally we don't get VXP for killing drones, but I think these drones with as much as it takes to kill and the damage they deal back to you if you get caught, they should be worth VXP.
Yeah, these aren't they are. These aren't the old drones that are launching from. These are just little baby ships. Maybe we shouldn't call them drones. I don't know, because those old drones I think are probably considered something completely different by Kixeye at this point.
I know what I'd like to call them, but we are a family show.
I'm sorry, what did I say? I missed that.
I said I know what I'd like to call them, but we are a family show.
Okay, yeah. I was afraid I might have said something, but that would never happen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I'd call them Reaver Corvettes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is true. They don't spawn. They don't come out of another ship. They're just there.
Yeah, and we just call them drones because they're about the same size as what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, point taken there.
Yeah, Alex just posted a classic in chat. These aren't the drones you're looking for.
I have.
Well, given how much we miss them, we are going to the Stormtrooper Marksman Academy.
Great.
Yeah, Yeah, I think the biggest thing that annoys me about them is not so much killing them, it's dodging the yellow pea on the water and getting backed up into a corner and having to make that sharp turn to finish them on that first set. And if you're not paying attention, then you know you're going to take guaranteed damage from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't like that their projectile that they're firing doesn't have a high contrast with the water or all the missiles you're firing at them. I rarely, you know, until they're actually hitting you, you don't really see. At least I don't see them. Maybe I need a larger screen or something.
It's not just you. I had a hard time discerning them firing, and then the other thing that I had a hard time until I finally remembered where they were was the flaming turrets that were like camouflaged in behind the target. So there was a couple of things that were really hard to see.
Yeah, because
It
they only
wasn't that a good. You got it.
No, I was just saying, yeah, the whole Reaver thing, they need to change. They need to add like one or two more colors to it because it does seem to lack contrast and be on the dark side as far as the playability on anybody that doesn't have like a 40, 50-inch screen or play. I play zoomed out, so maybe that's the other issue because I'm always afraid if I play zoomed in, I'm going to drive right into something else that's
you're gonna miss.
even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, while we're
Well,
at it, I'd love to see the duality countermeasure get a different color too, so I can actually tell what the hell's firing when.
On the
Little
bright
things
side, at
that
least we
so
don't
much
have to deal with those flying death turd mortars anymore.
The flaming cheese balls.
Flaming cheese balls?
No, I'm talking about
No,
the flying psychedelic turds.
First.
That you,
The hunter killer
Oh,
mortar.
those
The
ones.
psychedelic mortars. I am not commenting at all.
The other thing is there's a very, very fine line between on the range circle of where you're hitting them and they're not hitting you, and then to where you're still hitting them but they are hitting you. If you can't keep that circle right on the edge, or if you lag any, or if you're a little slow, then you're going to take all of that damage just because you're not keeping them at range.
And
I
you've got
was going to say, I also like how the NPC stuff, even after it's dead or you think it's dead, they still get another volley off. Like when I was ranking yesterday, I killed one of the Hulks, and the mushroom cloud went up and everything, and all of a sudden there was a load of UAVs coming at me.
Oh, come on,
right
George.
out of the mushroom cloud.
I know George has something to say about this.
Does he?
Not really.
Well, because I know you've had this issue before where they give one more for the Gipper. As far as
Oh yeah, the firing from whatever it is, whatever it is,
Yeah.
a target turret or whatever, from 20 feet underwater, it just manages to get that last shot off.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm just
yeah, okay.
no comment.
I know you've gone off on a rant.
I've gone off on a rant. I've actually gotten it on video and stuff. That's what annoys me. Is like there's some stuff that just actually, you know what? While we're on that subject about stuff that they can't, replicate, I had a chat last couple of weeks off and on about Megahauls because people have been reporting, especially Imre. Where's Imre? Like, we need him today. Imre hits like a ton of Megahauls, right? And he always has this issue about, so if he's building something or upgrading something and it dies, it gets days added onto the build, right? And it's happened to me very rarely. I can't replicate it. They can't replicate it either. Like, they know it happens. It's one of those things that they know it happens. They can't replicate it, so it can't get fixed. I'm like, okay. So if anybody has like a video or knows how to actually make it happen, let me know, because I would love to get that fixed. As far as the shooting that last shot after, it's died, man, I don't know how many more videos I need to make of that. I really wish they would figure something out on that. I mean, I'm guessing, if I had to guess, it's a timer issue between the client and the server, and the thing actually fired. It's just lagging between when it dies on my screen and when it actually had fired. But
So what are you saying? Kix computers aren't new enough? You need to buy a new one.
No, it's just the latency.
Just being sarcastic.
Yeah,
You gotta go down to Amazon.
Yeah,
and,
in the pre-show, we learned that in Brian's closet on the right-hand side is where they actually store the Kixeye servers, because he had the door open earlier. So we actually know what's going on now.
there's not a big enough can of Dust Destroyer.
You know what also would be nice is that, you know, if you give a turret that's down to like a microscopic little bit of red left on health, it still is fully functional, fires just as fast and just as well. It would be nice if, you know, there was some kind of mechanic where the more damage they took, the less effective they were. But I suppose then we'd have to deal with that too.
They used to do that. Like about 5.5 years ago, they had that mechanic in the game for about 4 months, where, and it was sort of cool, but the players hated it, was the fact that at a certain point, randomly, at different damage intervals that your ship took, you would lose a special. You know, you might lose your engine. So all of a sudden you're going super slow, or you might lose your solid fuel booster, so you'd lose your range. I mean, it happened to the players. I don't. That was the most noticeable, the player ships. But as far as it happening to the NPC ships, I don't know. But it was, they did code it at one point years ago, but the players weren't a big fan of it, because your ship would start to smoke, and there'd be fire on part of your ship where the special that you'd lost was. I
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool, but not everybody. You know, it was the fact that it was random which special you lost. People weren't a big fan of. But yeah, it was definitely it was more realistic, and sort of what I think sort of what you're asking for.
Well, I was talking more about it from the NPC side, you know, but that's never going to happen. But you get destroyed. You splash kill a whole cluster of turrets, but then there's one stupid cold snap that's got one itty bitty sliver of health, and you got to try to get up on it, and it destroys you. And it's like as good as dead. That's what I mean.
Yeah, because the other thing that doesn't make sense, the more time your ship gets sunk, the better it gets. Which I'm not sure what kind of car Brian drives, but you know, the more time you smash up your car, it doesn't get better, does it?
Well, it might if you replace the damaged parts.
Yeah, a lot of times they total them. But yeah, it just, as far as realism and whatnot, it's, I guess I'm getting far afield as far as the realism in the game relative to the amount of damage you take relative to during that battle versus the cumulative nature of it. I don't know.
I mean, this game is in the future. Like, we can drop giant 30-ton packets of cesium from UAVs and, not blow up anything, including what we were aiming at. So our ships are going to be just fine.
Okay, yes. We dredge them up from the bottom of the sea. And maybe that should be part of the repair mechanic, is how long it takes them to pull them up from the bottom of the sea. Because the fact that people were complaining that it would take, back when we had that relay tower issue, where sometimes it would take several days for a dead fleet to get back to your base. But if it's in 10,000 feet of water, getting that mother up from the bottom is, that could take some time.
Your base actually has a super-powered magnet. That's how we're calling it now. Super-powered magnets. And how do they work?
Seems legit.
Sorry, guys. I just wanted to say, do you think a good idea for Kixeye would be to, like on VXP, to bring out at least one skirmisher target, one siege target, and one assault target from this raid, and also the garrison from the last raid? At least just one target of each, so that you can rank ships up.
I think they're called ERFs. I think they're called ERFs.
You reckon? You don't get a lot on there, though.
Well, don't bring back a siege target. A siege target is basically useless. You are forced to run in and die. because you don't get VXP for hitting buildings, and everything in a siege target is buildings. So a siege should never be a VXP target.
No, it shouldn't be, should it?
Well, they did it for a few months, and thankfully, I was able to get my cannoneers ranked on the time when they made it an assault target, and you would just kite the heavy cruiser with your cannoneers because you were super fast. But
yeah, the reason why I said it is because, you know, like, they do the VXP, don't they, on the month's event, either coming or gone. So, like, this one's like a garrison one. The one after that will be an assault one, do you know what I mean? And you can't rank a cannon ship or a cannon fleet in them targets because they just die. So basically, you're sending ships in to die no matter what. Because
yeah,
I think those 100 targets, no way, can't cannon fleet.
Yeah, I think they should make that 100, the garrison 100, a permanent fixture because, first of all, you can bring in your countermeasure tank. Like if you don't have a good tank built, you have other problems. First of which being you don't have a tank and you should get one. But you bring that in to protect your other ships and you drive them around intelligently, and then you use your ships, which damages might not be tuned properly, to be able to take out those ships. And activating those ships is really easy. You just run up and hit a dock or two, or a shipyard or two, and nothing from those turrets fired on you. So if you were weak to like explosive, there wasn't a cold snap killing you before you could do anything. And then you turn around, or they could just massively reduce the damages on those turrets. Because if you want to suicide your fleets, you'd still be able to, but if you took a cannoneer in on those, you're dead in a second.
I mean, you did notice though, didn't you, that the 55 were built for the skirmish targets, weren't it? So you can still rank tie takers, you can still rank subs. There was no way to rank a siege fleet. There was no way to rank, I don't know what I'm trying to say. There's loads. Basically, I sent 7 fleets out, and only 1 fleet of the Phoenixes could do out. The rest of them had to die because it's an assault fleet.
But the only way they would be able to make them actually good for that is to get VXP out of killing buildings and turrets.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the big mistake is trying to bring out a VXP weekend with a siege month. You know what I mean? Because you can't do, like Brian's just said, you can't do a VXP weekend with a siege target because it's all buildings.
Well, they did it, and they did it twice. And I guess they'll say, "Oh, we're trying to collect data." Stop. Just stop. You can't collect data on that target in any meaningful fashion because everyone's going to die because we've got shells that we had to save tokens and win tokens from the raid, and all we can bring out are these little crappy things with an engine and a gun and a range extender, if that. Like,
it was just an idea, really, just
for anybody.
Like, with them splitting up the whole classes, we've now got 6 different targets per year. So they need to bring out, if they're going to do a VXP every month, they need to have at least one of those targets on the map for somebody to better skull rank one of their ships. Because not everybody can skull rank them in one go.
Hold on. There's a difference between going, hey, we need the VXP targets to be like, the old 36 hours, but going, hey, trying to dictate, saying, hey, you need targets for every single thing, and separate. That gets to the point of, it sounds like more like entitlement than, hey, I got to figure out this game.
Yeah, but Stemmel decided to change it all. Well, when we had normal VXP on normal no hull class, let's say, it were fine. You could go in and you could smash anything you wanted, and you die.
Oh yeah, and we used to just rank on salvages too. I mean,
yeah,
the game changes.
They've changed the game so much.
You don't need 6 targets. You need maybe 2. You need a garrison, so you bring in your countermeasure and you let your other ships shoot at it. And maybe you might want a base target.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to rank your siege fleet up so that you can do base mines and track bases and dubs?
See, also, no. just 10 seconds ago. The garrison target. You take your countermeasure ship in, you take your cannoneers in, you trigger the fleets to come from the sides, you have your countermeasure ship absorb the missiles and mortars, you have your cannons shoot at the ships, which gain your cannoneers VXP, you kill off a set, you leave, you come back, you rinse and repeat. That's the way to get anything, to get any PvE ship ranked. That's all you need. Yes,
Yeah,
you
so
do
what you're
need
saying
a
there is
tank
that
gun.
garrison target should have been here this month.
Yes, and I agree, but we don't need 6. And I understand to some extent them trying to
I
put it
agree with
out because, well, they need data, but that's faulty. But for us to get practice on the target, I guess is the best thing. I mean, they do open PVs and they sometimes do things like they did with the glowing relays, where if you had your fleet set up and could kill a whole 100, you got super awesome prizes. But I mean, it's not needed.
I think that's a good idea, actually, what you said there about when I went on about bringing the targets out, I went on about so that you could rank every single ship what you have in your dock. I mean, some of us, like I say, cannot rank all in one go. I have to do it over 3 or 4 months, to rank my ships, because I end up dead. But what I was thinking is, if they did a siege target, at least then I could go in with the siege fleet and maybe try and get a bit of rank. But like you just said then, the garrison target, you could do that. You could hit the
Well, but any target is as good for ranking a siege fleet as any other target at minimum, because you're going to die. In anything, you're going to die. The thing is, with other ones, you have a chance of dealing damage to ships, so you get more VXP.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of the way of dying. I'm trying to get VXP without dying. But I've ranked 7 fleets today, and only one of them didn't die.
7 fleets?
Yeah, it literally put itself. Well, the Phoenix gave its own as good as what it got, you know what I mean? And it got some decent VXP. What I've been doing, I've been sending one single ship with a 2-star salty, and do that with, I've used 3 salties and got about 6,000 to 8,000 per ship. One single ship, and just let it die.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, I mean, you're better off trying to escape and then go back in pretty much every
you can't do that. You can't do that. As soon as the drones hit you, you're dead. With any kind of fleet, except for the Phoenix or Skyfire or some kind of missile fleet, anyway.
Or if you go in with Muddle Guts and clear out everything but the Hulk, if you do that, you can control the damage that you take.
Yeah, I ain't got Muddle Guts, but okay. I'm going to get
You have no excuse for not having Muddle Guts.
Well, there is,
because that TLC was very easy.
The first time around.
Well, yeah, and it was pretty easy to own them the first time.
What did you have to use?
Also, they gave you tons of build tokens to at least build a couple of them.
Yeah, but what did you have to use for that campaign?
I think it was Conqueror and then Siege.
Did I have a Conqueror?
I don't know. I just remember it being very easy, and that's why there were so many on the water.
All I've got, Jeff, is 1 Malice fully built, and other 3 all just got flood one on.
I'm curious what you build, because
did you not do implements of war?
Yeah, like we have the same amount of time as you know,
PvE fleets.
Right. I understand that, and I'm doing the same thing, and I'm getting 2 PvE fleets out every cycle, and I'm getting a little bit of PvP done too. I can't. The other day you said something about the FM, and I'm trying to figure out why you struggle sometimes, because is it trying to multitask? I mean, like I'm a little confused.
No, it's just I ain't got the fleets to do what I need to do.
No, I understand. I understand that, but like
that's the question that George is asking. Why don't you have the fleet?
Yeah, like I mean, do you like? I guess what I'm saying is you know, things have come up, and I just try and wonder, or I wonder like why, like when you said you had problems with the FM, like I cannot fathom why you have an issue with the FM, because you've played so long.
Yeah. I can do the 88s, and I can do them pretty damage free. And they're 9 million each, but going back to 9 million points when I've been getting 109s, it's just not on.
I mean, I think the problem that Jabbas has is he wants to do everything for instant repair or 5 minutes of repair, even though the rewards are much greater for taking an hour's worth of damage and coming back. Is that part of what your issue is, G-Daddy?
No, well, not really. No, it's just I've got.
Well, let me ask. Hold on, let me ask, because like my big thing for everybody that I try and help is I try and get them focused on the FM. Like that's the priority number one before anything else.
Doing
okay?
that before we changed it on.
But like, are you building monos right now?
I am, yeah, but they're only flood ones, so I've come to the Phoenixes now.
Okay, why? See, this is why I'm a little confused.
I'm way behind on my siege fleet. I couldn't even get my siege fleet finished.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Why are you building Phoenixes if you don't have your monoliths? Who gives a shit about the raid?
I've got an FM fleet.
Do you have a Megahaul?
What a hull?
No, like a Megahaul. Like, do you have the Megahaul?
Do you have a Hyperion?
Hyperion, yeah, that's built now.
Right, but is it something that you're actively playing in? I mean,
No.
this is what I mean. Like, if I were you, I would prioritize on getting your FM fleet out to the point where you can hit 113s. Okay.
Yep.
Get the Zealous built. Get the at least three monos built. Right. I mean, I've seen it done with a Zealous and a single mono. Okay. Get some practice in on the 113. Concentrate on that. The hell with the damn raid. You don't need the raid. You don't need the Phoenixes right now. Once you have your FM done and you're starting to hit that tier 5 all the time, then you concentrate on the next thing that you want to do in the game, which might not be the raid. It might not be hitting 91s for titanium. You know, your next thing might be, well, I need uranium, so I'm going to get this next fleet done. And you have to go down the list and prioritize each thing that you want to do in the game until you get to the point where you can build several things like we do and participate in it. And I think the thing is, it sounds like you're trying to participate in a lot of the aspects of the game all at the same time without having...
That's what you're saying. You're saying I'm trying to get into too many things. I can't do any of it. I can't do the TFC.
That's because you're trying to get into all of them. Pick one.
It sounds like you're trying to participate in several aspects of the game at once without having...
All I do is the daily Reaver tide. I hit salvages if I need to get res, or I do the malice trick on the snowfall campaign, and I do one tide seeker in to get uranium, and I've got an ironclad now that can do a Drac uranium base on its own for, well, it's just about dead when it's finished, all 4 corners.
Okay, but you're still not hitting the 113 in the FM.
No.
That's the primary. That is the primary issue that you were having in the game. I think is that
it's changed. I did have a fleet to do with 109s, but since it's changed to 113s, it's now just knocked me back a month. I can't do nothing now for a month because my other fleet that I'm doing.
Do you have a Zealous tank? Do you have a Zealous tank?
I've got a Zealous tank now. I've built it.
What did you use?
Okay, so wait a minute. What do you have building? What do you have building right now?
It's got a Phoenix building.
Now I've got a Phoenix 4th one building.
Yeah, you need to, as soon as that finishes, you need to get your FM done, as George said. There's no point wasting your time on the raid if you can't get the key pieces and the tokens that will help you build those ships quicker for the next raid.
Yeah, G-Daddy, you're just going to frustrate the hell out of yourself because you're going to... You know what I mean? Like you're going to start running around chasing different things without being settled in anything, and that's just going to be frustrating as all hell. I mean, it's got to be frustrating as shit, you know. And I mean, I would like the Zealous tank. Have that's the very first thing you should get out because that thing is the best tank in the game. It's a tier 2 hull. You have the tech to build it.
I've got a Zealous, but I changed it from a tank because of the change of targets to a Quake cannon. What have I got on it? 2 flanks 3s, a Gale 2 and a Gale 1 on there, and the rest of them are all Quake cannons.
You've got the start of the tank with your antis that are on there. Take a look at the tank that George posted in his article and his video, and switch switch that Zealous over to that tank, and then that will really help you with the FM.
Yeah, and the thing is there's actually several builds out there. Like if you're not as precise in driving, there's a couple of Trident Zealous builds out there that are fantastic because they take care of the cold snaps. I think Jason has what you're describing sounds like what Jason ran. Like I think he ran 2 or 3 Zealous through the 113 with Quakes. I'm not sure what it was, but I think he had Tridents on. I think he had Tridents on it too. I mean, I can find out and send it to you. But man, I mean, you're gonna end up just getting so frustrated if you keep on trying to do all this stuff at the same time and not have a good solid base.
It's not that though, George. I was not last month, but month before they changed all the siege targets and all the FM targets and all that. I was doing everything. I could do everything apart from TFCs.
Right, but man, they gave us how much notice that the thing was going to change. I mean, we had 3 months of raid.
It don't give me any different notice because I can't build as fast as what you lot can when you're all getting tokens all the time.
Right. But listen. It was 3 months of raid. Before that, we had a month that we got to see the target, and they were telling us months before that it was going to change. So you had 4 months.
They changed it 2 days before raid.
You had 4 months.
If you started building monoliths, like as soon as you could feasibly get them, you'd have 4 done by the time they change the targets, even though that would be preempted.
You don't even need monoliths. I mean, Caesar did it with Citadels and the Zealous tank. I mean, it's doable with so many different things. The problem that you know, you can't wait and be reactionary to what changes in the game because they're telling us ahead of time now. So when you have to react is not when it changes in the game, but when they tell us. You know what I mean? That's a lot of the reasons why we try and get permission to do, you know, videos and stuff or streams from the test servers, so people can actually have an idea of what's coming up and they can start planning ahead and taking advantage of the time and information. If you wait until it's changed in the game, I mean, you're going to have a really rough time of it because by then it's changed.
Yeah, but that's what's happened to me.
And I think part of it is I think part of it is because you're not prioritizing what you really need to in the game. And I'm just telling you, like, it sounds if I were in your shoes, I would be frustrated as all hell. I really would. Because it would feel like I couldn't play any part of the game.
I can't, no.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. It's you got to start getting it into a place where you can, but the problem is where you're at now, it's not going to be like an overnight thing. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing, but I think you really do have to start with the base of the game, which is the FM, and go from there. Once that's done, then you set your next goal, and you concentrate on that one goal. I mean, don't get distracted and go, oh, well, this is new shiny, and I'm going to build this instead. You know, like I understand the Phoenixes are cool and you can do the raids and stuff, but you know, to actually get ahead and be in a really good position in the game, you gotta get that FM done, and it might be worth it.
The most important thing in the game, right? But the next important thing is the raid.
Yeah, but if you can't do the FM, you can't do the raid successfully.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But the raid is then also giving.
I can see where you're coming. I can see where you're coming from G Daddy, and it is frustrating trying to get everything finished.
But the next raid is the next targets, if you know what I mean. So you have to have a fleet ready for the raid.
For Megahauls, and nobody cares about Megahauls.
Well, G Daddy, it's a little more simple than that.
This is different.
G Daddy, G Daddy, it's a little more simple than that. The FM is going to be around for at least 9 more months. It shouldn't change much. So you have to have an FM fleet that you can get to 5 to get all of the tier 5 tokens to keep up in the builds like everybody else does. If you ever forsake having the fleet to do the FM, you've screwed yourself for the raids.
Yeah, but run, right? Don't you think I get enough piss took out of me by going to it lower level targets all the time at level 98?
Oh yeah.
I'm level 98, and I was for one time. I did 36-hour full stream, hitting a 47 for my raid. I mean, for my missions, just so that I could show lower level players that it can be done.
I'm a 98.
All right,
Oh,
guys,
pretty
I'm
impressive.
sorry. I need to step in here. We are over time. We can obviously continue this on the after show, and absolutely happy to. Big thank you to everybody that showed up for the show and some of the tips that were done in the chat. And we'll post the link to the after show for those that want to join. And then we'll go ahead and see you guys on the Tuesday show next week. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
You guys later.
Take it
Bye,
easy.
everybody.
See you later, Uru.
Night.
Later, people.
Toodles.